Yeah, with genre, when everybody's life, you go through different periods and phases of your life, and sometimes you're living a romantic comedy, sometimes you're living a thriller, sometimes horror movie, and I felt to make a reflection on three people's lives to span 100 years, that's a lot of genres. And I thought it'd be fun. It's a little contrived, but I think we get through it because she directed those parts.
I thought it was great.
Well, actually, I actually did. I liked it. So that's why I thought genre would be a good device to use to summarize a period of somebody's life, or a decade, or like an era.
Nice. And for George, what was it like to reconnect with Rachel's grandmother Florence after so many years since camp? Because you guys reconnected, I think Rachel mentioned it during the premiere of Allegiance, your project. What was that like?
Well, actually, I met Florence much earlier than that. I did a little calculating.
Yeah.
She's 100, and when I met her in my father's office in Roar, I was 5 years old. So it was 83 years ago that I met Florence.
Wow.
And she is a fascinating lady, and my introduction to her was, I went to my father's office. He was a block manager, and he had an office in one of the barracks. And I went to booked in on my father's office, and my father was busy with all the papers that he had on his desk. But here was this young girl. She must have been 17 then. I did a little calculating. I was 5, she was 17, and she had this machine on her table. And I became absolutely fascinated by it. She sat in front of it and went tap, 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 tap on the keys, and then ding, tap, 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 ding, tap, 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 and then zip, and there was a letter that looked like an official letter. She was an amazing human being. My father didn't do that. And so I met her for the first time in Roar as this amazing human being. But watching this movie, what I saw coming off that screen was the warmth of love of family, all the entire extended family. And it was wonderfully told, fascinating, and I learned a lot about the family, the Kubota, the Whitney family. I wanted to know more about your father's family. You're biased on your mother's side. But
Maybe we'll find that in the future identity.
that's another film that you got coming.
Yeah, actually, and Rachel, we're running low on time, but is there like a call to action or a message you hope audience takes away from watching your film?
Yeah, I mean, I guess again, growing up on the East Coast, I think for people that grew up maybe in LA or California, everyone grew up knowing about the camp story, and like you saw, the first time I heard about it was when I was in 3rd grade, and it went completely over my head. I didn't really understand it. And even in high school, I was just excited that I had primary documents of like my Japanese great-grandparents' passports and other documentation, because I thought it would help me get an A in my AP US history class. And I don't think it was until college that I really understood what the camps meant. And even to this day, I meet people that don't know about the camps, or they know a little bit, but they didn't realize that they were American citizens. Like my grandparents were American citizens. So I don't know what the call to action exactly would be, but I think one, I hope people can learn a little bit about the camps. And I mean, there's so many, this is obviously a more creative take on that, and there's so many very informative documentaries like on PBS that go into way more detail about the camps. But I I think it's nice when it's like and everyone's story is different. So this is a very, obviously like my family story, but if it's educational, I hope it can be educational, but also entertaining. And I think it's just really important to understand our history and know where we came from, because I think it helps us moving forward.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing. And also, your family story is very interesting, even though I know your grandma was like, my life is boring, but I would very much disagree. My grandmother also would say like, oh, my story's not important. So thank you for like keeping, your family stories alive and like digging into that and learning more.
Yeah, also on that note, I think something that I was thinking about is, there aren't a lot of Japanese American stories told by Japanese Americans, and maybe it's because, like my grandma says, and even with my mom, it's like, oh, well, my story's not that interesting, it's not that important, so then we don't tell our stories, and then we don't see them, and then it's like this cycle that we get stuck in. And so I also hope that this is a way for the Japanese American community to see this and be like, oh, my story is important, and I deserve to take up space.
Let's give another round of applause.